On today's show, the Fanatec Porsche GT2 wheel on the Shabami.
The Pit Stop with Jessica Lopez, brought to you by iRacing.com.
In iRacing news, the online simulation has just announced their partnership with Honda. They'll be bringing us the Honda LMP car in the second half of 2011. They'll also be bringing us their third Formula One track and their first Latin American track from Brazil, a 2.67 mile raceway with 15 corners, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace Racetrack, otherwise known as Interlagos. They go over all these details in their most recent episode of iRacing TV. You can catch that at our website, InsideSimRacing.tv, under the iRacing tab. As you guys may have recently seen, we just took our first look at Utechnic's upcoming title, NASCAR 2011. Vice President Ed Martin has stated that he'd like the title out by the Daytona 500. Looks like that's not happening. The release date has been pushed back to March 29th, just one day shy of the second quarter of the year. To hold you over, we have some box art, which you're looking at here. Enjoy that for a moment. All right, everybody, 2011 is looking to be a good year so far. I've compiled a list of all the upcoming racing titles and put them in order of which they are to be released. Starting with Test Drive Unlimited 2, due out next month in February. Followed by Off-Road Drive, also due out in February by 1C for the Xbox 360. Then we have Days of Thunder, which is also due out in February by Paramount and Piranha. Followed by NASCAR 2011, now due out in March by Utechnics. For the month of March, we have Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed by EA and MotoGP by Capcom and Monumental. During the spring season, we can expect to see SBK 2011 by Blackbean and Milestone, MotorStorm Apocalypse by Sony and Evolution. And during the fall of 2011, we can expect to see Dirt 3 by Codemasters, Forza 4 by Turn 10, Cargasm by Candela Software, Trackmania 2 by Ubisoft, Nitrous Undefeated by Game Mechanic Studios, FIM Motocross Championship by Blackbean and Milestone, Race Driver Grid 2 by Codemasters, and with an unknown release date, we have GTR 3 by Simbin and R Factor 2 by Image Space Incorporated. All the titles that I just mentioned and release dates may not be 100% accurate. This is just based on my research and maybe some speculation. Head on over to our website where we have a poll going on. We'd like to hear what all of you guys out there like to see this year and which title you're anticipating playing the most. If you're a Formula One fan and have been considering iRacing, they have a special going on that includes 1 year subscription and all of its base content for $75. And with it, you receive the Williams Formula One car and 2 tracks, Silverstone and Zandvoort, as a bonus. Go to iRacing.com/grand-prix-racing. I'm Jessica Lopez. This has been The Pit Stop, and you have been fueled. Welcome to Inside Sim Racing, episode 95. I'm Jessica Lopez. Hope you enjoyed the pit stop. On to the remainder of today's show, we have a special guest starring the beautiful Fanatec Porsche GT2 wheel, which is no stranger to the show, as you may have seen it before. But today we're going to be putting it on the Shabami. But before we get to any of that, we're going to give you some details about this beauty. The Porsche 911 GT2 wheel is compatible with the Xbox 360, PC, and the PS3. It has 3 force feedback motors and a smooth belt drive to deliver sensational realism, big shifter paddles made of aluminum, the original 911 GT2 steering wheel design with the authentic metal Porsche logo on the wheel, wrapped in Alcantara from Italy, which is 100% the same material used in the real cars. It's a 300mm steering wheel with interchangeable gear shift left and right. It has tuning functions with LED display, giving it in-game adjustability with anything from force feedback to degrees of rotation. The wheel is adjustable with 270 to 900 degrees of rotation, It is powered by a Mabushi RS 550 motor, which is used in RC cars to deliver extra strong force feedback effects. There's a high-resolution wheel sensor. It comes with table clamps, which will allow you to adjust the wheel to most desks or cockpits. An adapter cable to connect the G25 or G27 pedal set. The price for the wheel a la carte is $249.99. Add the standard pedals for an additional $49.95. Add the sequential and H pattern shifter for $49.95. Or the ultimate package of the wheel, the shifter, and the Club Sport pedals for $499.85. Now that you guys know all about this wheel and the variation of packages it comes with for your purchasing pleasures, I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over to Darren and Sean, who are going to show you how they set it up for the Shabami, what they played it with, all about it, and also their settings for the PC. Here they are.
One of the best things about the GT2 is if you're a true sim racing fanatic and have an Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, you can use this wheel on all three systems. Setting the wheel up on the consoles is a plug-and-play experience. In the case of the Xbox 360, it's wireless. By binding them together, you can turn your console on just by pressing the base button on the GT2. On the PS3, you can connect it via the supplied USB cable, and to start using it, you put it in PC mode by pressing this back button on the wheel. Then once you're in PC mode, you press the tuning and the back button at the same time, and then the buttons light up and tell you that you're in PS3 mode. You can also purchase the optional dongle and race on the PS3 or PC in wireless mode, but we don't recommend using that for serious sim racing. Once you have it plugged into your console and set up in the correct mode, you can adjust the features of the wheel right from the tuning menu. The degrees of rotation or sensitivity, force feedback, shock, ABS, linearity, just like the previous Fanatec models, are all adjustable from this menu. Now to the PC. It's not as plug and play, but not very difficult to get going. Make sure you download the latest driver from Fanatec.com and install it on your system. Once you have it installed, now you can calibrate and configure your wheel. Configuring your wheel is really a personal preference. In the past, I used to do all of my adjustments from the software menu. Now I do them all from the hardware tuning menu since there's more options available. I'll use iRacing as an example, and it's really car dependent, but I mostly run 360 to 540 degrees of rotation. Force feedback set to 100, shock set to 100, which controls the ABS feature. Drift mode 3 to 5 depending on how much dampening I want. I leave linearity, dead zone, and everything else at 0. In game for iRacing, I have my force feedback set from 5 up to 25, and it's also car dependent. I would use trial and error to find the best setting that works for you, or come to our forums at InsideSimRacing.tv and see what others are using on their Fanatec wheels.
The guys have tested this wheel out on every game under the sun. They showed you how they set it up for the Shabami, showed you their PC settings. It's now time to hear the pros and the cons and to actually give this wheel a score. So here it is, the Fanatec Porsche GT2 on the Shabami.
I think you guys have heard enough about this wheel now, and it's pretty much time for us to score it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, we did the pre-release or preview video that we put out about a month or two ago. Jessica's given you all the specs. I gave you how to set it up, and
Which a lot of setting up for this one.
Yep.
A lot of different ways.
Yep. And so I'm just going to roll off this Shabami wheel scores,
All right.
which we actually took from our wheel shootout that we did last year. So this is actually the 6th wheel we're adding to it, and then we'll give you the overall scores of the other ones.
You know, before you even get started, there were 2 Fanatec wheels on there before, and this is the hybrid of those 2 wheels.
Yep.
So this is sort of like the second coming of
Well, like Jessica said, the 2 had a baby in one of those
Yeah.
pit stops. So gonna get right to
Super baby.
we're gonna get right to the scores, and this is our scores combined. Force feedback out of 20 possible points, we gave it 17.5. Wheel rim out of 15 possible points, we gave it 13.75. Buttons, we gave it 9.25. Mounting, we gave it 8.25. Compatibility, we gave it a 10. Paddle shifters, we gave it a 9. Cost, 3.75. Construction, 4.5. Plug and play, 4.75. Looks, 5 extras for grand total 89 3/4.
Wow, wow.
Now, the other 5 wheels that we scored were, like Sean mentioned, the 911 Turbo S, the 911 GT3 RS, not the V2, this is the V1, so this is before the V2 came out, the Logitech G27, the DF-GT, and the Thrustmaster F430. So of those 6 wheels, this one is now on top by 5 points. It beat out the Turbo S. And if you're wondering where, for instance, force feedback, a full point we gave it over prior. Wheel rim, we gave it a 1.25 over the prior. So I mean, just across the board, basically like Sean mentioned, it's a hybrid of those 2 wheels. So the best of the GT3 and the best of the Turbo S is sitting in Sean's lap right now and sitting here on the game pod.
And like you said, the best features. I mean, like even the force feedback, you know, you think about it, it's like the Turbo S went through its versions. Then you had the GT3 V1 and V2. You know, this comes after all of those, after, you know, all these people have responded on the wheel, and it's definitely seen improvements.
You know, 10,000 Turbo S's have been sold, approximately a ton of GT3s, so a lot of that feedback's come back to Fanatec, and they've made a lot of changes based on that feedback, and feedback that we've given them. Some teams like Team Redline, a guy named Patrick Spence I know has given a lot of feedback. So the other scores, like I mentioned, the Turbo S came out at 84 3/4 before. Next closest was the GT3 Fanatec at 81 1/4. Then the G27, the Logitech at 79 1/4. The F430 was at 75, and the DF-GT was at 74 1/4, or 3/4, I'm sorry. So, you know, that's based on all these different categories. Doesn't mean it's either one of our favorite wheels. Actually, I think that's probably pretty much one of my favorite wheels right now.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. But again, it's the way it's scored in each category, and a lot of these are taking things like aesthetics into account.
Yep. The Alcantara leather, I mean, just stuff like that. So, that being said, we're going to give you the pros and cons now. We've got the score. Sean's going to give you the pros. I'm going to give you our cons. We kind of combined them both.
Right.
Both of our pros and both of our cons. So,
Sean, I'll go ahead and get things going. Right off the bat, I think anybody would notice this is a great looking wheel. Everything about it, the paint job on the finish, the finish of the wheel, the real emblem. I mean, it's a gorgeous wheel. There's nothing toyish about it either. So that for me is a standout, absolutely.
Drives more like a real car too.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, a toyish feeling, like the Logitechs kind of have a feeling like that.
Definitely, and that comes to the next pro, which is the wheel itself and the grip. I mean, you're talking about the same thickness as a real car, the Alcantara leather covering it, and the ergonomic grips. Again, it feels like a real car wheel, even though you're driving a sim, which I wouldn't make that statement for a lot of its competitors on that list. Another thing that makes this wheel so special, and you can see it right here, the cross compatibility. This is the only worthy wheel that is going to work on the Xbox, the PS3, and the PC. I know of another wheel that'll work on the Xbox, but I mean, there's no contest between them.
None at all.
The other thing is,
even the Turbo S. This wheel's a step above the Turbo S, and the Turbo S isn't being manufactured any longer or ever again. So this is a step up, in my opinion.
To be honest, we tried to make this wheel ourselves by taking apart a GT3 and a Turbo S and doing exactly this, except it would have been orange.
We knew this wheel was going to come out a while back. Well, Thomas kind of hinted at it. He's like, stop doing that. Don't worry. I got something for you guys. And this was it.
So that definitely improved it in that way. I mean, the wheel rim moves better. It's a lighter wheel, so that works out well. Sorry to say, it's very smooth and quiet. I mean, that's with no power on it. It's belt driven though, and that's immediately noticeable both to your ears and to your hands. The other is the buttons. These are the buttons. There are no little fake red clickety buttons. These are ergonomic buttons that light up. They look just like the buttons that are on the real Porsche wheel. So that's.
And that was one of the pros one of the bump ups in points, like over the GT3. This one has the PS3 lights, you know, on the buttons. Not that I'm looking at the wheel, but it's nice just to have them lit up and know that you're in PS3 mode.
Yeah.
Know that you're in Xbox 360 mode. It's cool.
In some games, you know, the loading screens take forever, so pressing the wrong button can be kind of a pain.
You can even turn the Xbox 360 illumination on during PC mode too, which is pretty cool.
Very nice, so you can remember what button's what.
Yep.
The other thing is these buttons here for the adjustability on the fly. I mean, you can adjust rotation, dampening, spring, I mean, linearity. It's just endless what you can do. And again, on the fly. So if you're in the PC, you don't have to go back to Windows just to make changes.
And mainly if you're on the PS3, that you don't have that adjustability at all. At least on the PC, you have it in the software pretty much regardless.
Yeah.
But on the PS3, this is the only wheel that offers you that kind of adjustability. Or on the Xbox 360. I mean, Xbox 360, there's really nothing available besides this wheel now. But
yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
The other thing is the modular, and I talk about the purchasing when I say modular. This wheel comes a la carte at $249. I mean, if you had nothing and you were getting going for $50, you'd have a set of pedals to go along with it. If you want a shifter, you've got an H pattern or a sequential. You got a lot of different options, and in this era of high-end wheels, that's nice to be able to do.
And don't forget, if you're a G25 or G27 owner, you already have a set of pedals that's compatible with this wheel, and it comes with the adapter that allows you to plug it right in. So for $250, you know, if you were thinking about getting another wheel and your pedals are still working good, G25 and G27 is a solid set of pedals.
Definitely.
Nixon modded, perfect pedal modded.
Yeah.
Great set of pedals. You know, works already with this wheel with the adapter. So, you know, for $250,
Yep.
a la carte, it's a good deal.
Yeah. The other thing, not only is it cross-compatible between systems, but it's also compatible with just about every game we've tested. So regardless of Xbox, PC, PS3, it's worked. I mean, basically, if other wheels worked, this wheel's going to work as well.
Even if it's not officially supported, like Gran Turismo 5 doesn't officially support the Fanatec wheels, but this is pretty much the best wheel for
Yeah.
Gran Turismo 5.
Yep. And then the last one, and this is another big deal, this goes into extras, I guess. It has that ABS function. So you can actually tune at some pressure or some movement of your brake pedal, the wheel's going to pick up a little bit of vibration. And to me, that's almost a cheat, you know, or at least something I can use to prevent wheels from locking up. It doesn't work like ABS, it's just a reminder to you.
Yeah, that you're hitting a certain point and you're braking. And that works with the G25 pedals. And then if you have Club Sport pedals, both the pedal vibrates and the wheel, so
Yeah.
it really creates a cool vibration function. And like Sean said, it's almost like a cheat. So there's all the pros, and here's our very few cons that go along with it. It's a heavy wheel. So what that ends up doing, you know, because of the Alcantara leather, you know, it's got a lot of plastic. The rim is a, you know, it's a thick wheel, but it mutes some of the effects, which can be a pro sometimes, but can also be a con because there may be a bump that you're not feeling and you need to. But there can also be some times like a Daytona road course or even Daytona Oval where that car is just bouncing around like crazy, and I'd rather not feel all those effects. And that wheel dampens.
And you're not going to get that constant jittering also.
And that's not force feedback. This has probably the heaviest force feedback in this class of wheel. But it's just some of the effects may be muted, like the road noise effects may be muted a little bit. Another con, paddle shifters, not a positive enough click. We don't have the bigger shifters mounted right now, and it's a little more positive click when you don't have the paddles mounted, but not as positive a click. I would like it like with the new Thrustmaster wheel. It's a real clunky positive click that you know you've hit the shift. So I've never had problems misshifting with Fanatec, so
you get used to it. Just don't expect the click like you're accustomed to.
And it's a minor con. Another con, mounting clamp is limited to very flat, thin surfaces. The only rig we've seen that we've been able to clamp this to is the Sim Seat we reviewed a couple episodes back. GamePod just bolts right to it. It's got holes that you can hard drill it, hard mount it. Now the hard mount spots and points are the best in this class because you can just do 2 bolts and this thing's sturdy, where Logitech G27, you can't do that. You have to do a combination of the clamp and the bolts.
The mounts are in the middle, so when you bolt it, it's bolted, not just mounts at the front or the back. So that's actually the best hard mounts.
Yeah, and then 2 more cons. Not officially supported by the PlayStation 3. Not Fanatec's fault. They've just gotten burned as far as being able, being supported.
But that's just a matter of having your picture in the game. I mean, it worked completely with the game.
And then the shifter mount, chopsticks, which it doesn't come with, but if you're getting a shifter, I'm imagining it comes with the, if you buy the shifter separate, comes with the chopstick mounts, which we don't really like. Sometimes for a sequential shifter, it's okay, but like GamePod's got a shifter mount that it comes with it and stuff like that. Even the Ren Sport rig, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for the cons.
Some of those are kind of a stretch too.
Yeah. And then closing thoughts. I'll go with mine, and then Sean, if you have any to add.
Okay.
This is obviously the best combo wheel for somebody that wants to race on the Xbox 360, PC, and the PS3. Even if you want the cross compatibility from the PC to PS3, you know, G27 is a great wheel, but this one's just, man, it's just a better package in my opinion. I like the button placement a lot better than a G27. I hate that most of your buttons and the D-pad are, on that other mechanism, which is the shifter, which you have to have a place to mount.
Got that right here in the center.
Yep. Only quality wheel for the Xbox 360 with force feedback. As far as I'm concerned, only wheel on the market that's worth a damn for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And then combined with the Club Sport pedals, pretty much makes one of the best all-around packages for any sim racer.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. For me, what's very important about this wheel is we're just not at that era of toys anymore. Sims have gotten serious, the hardware has gotten serious, and I like that somebody is treating it that way and coming in with something that is worthy of being in a real car. There's nothing toy about it. The other, and you mentioned it, is the cross compatibility. I'm so tired of grabbing a different wheel for every time I fire up a different machine, and to be able to have one setup, especially those who are first getting into sim racing, who don't know where their destiny is going to be or they want to be able to play everywhere. It's the only wheel, in my opinion, that's worthy one-stop shopping wheel. I mean, you get this, you're taken care of in any system, in any situation. So there's nothing else I can say that about, and that's a big deal. And beyond it, I think it's just gorgeous. I mean, I think it's just, the color suits me.
It's really sleek. It's a cool looking wheel.
And it just feels good in your hand. It's a great effort.
You know, I'm gonna go out with one more closing thought. You know, somebody that may be coming into this review that is not a sim racer or is just a gamer and doesn't understand our passion for sim racing is going $250 for something. My Xbox 360 didn't cost this much.
Right.
My PS3 barely cost. You know, that's what they're going to be saying. You know, with a set of Club Sports, this is more expensive than both systems together. I can buy an Xbox 360 and a PS3 for that price.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't care what you say. You are not going to get the driving experience through a gamepad or any other cheap, peripheral like you are with this. I mean, this is going to give you a true driving experience. This is going to give you an idea what a real car feels like. Or damn close. You're not getting the seat of the pants, but wheels like this, especially this one, is offering you a pretty close experience.
Yeah.
Completely. So that's going to do it. Fanatec GT2.
Finally.
Yep. And check it out. They are shipping. I know they had some issues with China, they're manufactured in China. I know they had some issues with them going through customs here in the States, but hopefully by the time you watch this, it'll be available. And check them out, fanatec.com.
Before we wrap things up, I have a quick addition to the show here. Every once in a while we get a league, or we'll do a competition ourselves where we draw a name out of a hat, or Jessica used her bowl of correctiveness. Well, we had a guy that ran in the last SSCA event, the Carrera Cup event, asked if we would draw a name for a lottery that they had for a league that he's in, and it's part of the German Motorsports Association, and they're part of an organization called the Virtual Racing Association. You can go to virtualracing.org to check them out. And they had 2 championships just running this year. They were both in iRacing. One was in the Star Mazda and one was in the IndyCar. 10 races that they were running every Monday. 2 oval races per series. And they had 2 big prizes for this year. And they were both these prizes were a journey to the island of Mallorca to the GU Racing School. And they get a prize of a 1-day racing school with these little formula cars. We got some pictures of them here for you. You get a good briefing, and then you get to drive some laps behind a pace car, and then they let you free. So the first winner was Andre Borcher, and he was the IndyCar champion. And the second's going to be done by a lottery, which we have here. And I have 28 names, actually some of which are getting 2 names or 2 tickets, because they competed in both series. So the guys that just competed in one series, his 1 name in here. So I got all the names in my bowl, and I'm gonna pick 1 name. And that guy is gonna go to the GU Racing School, compliments of the German Motorsports Association. And the winner is Marcus Gunzelman. So let's see there, Marcus. I don't know if I can focus. Actually, we're probably out of focus. But Marcus Gunzelman, you are the winner of the racing school. Congratulations. Thanks, Mark, for having us pull the name. That was really fun. And good luck to you guys at the racing school. Have fun.
That's going to wrap up this 95th episode of Inside Sim Racing. We hope that you have enjoyed seeing the GT2 on the Shabami. Make sure you visit our website, InsideSimRacing.tv. We recently revamped it and we continue to work on it daily. And we have a poll going on over there, which I mentioned earlier during the show. We mentioned all of the upcoming racing titles for this year, and we'd like to know which one you guys anticipate the most. We'd love to hear your feedback. Keep on commenting on our YouTube channel and tell us what you think about our show. That's going to wrap it up. Checker flag is out, and so am I. Promotional consideration provided by iRacing.com, the ultimate place to race online. And GamePod, the choice of champions. Go to gamepod.co.uk. Okay, pause again. One more. And all of its base content for $75. And with it, you receive the Will Need. I see you looking at him like you wanted to go again. Okay.